AI technology taking over people's jobs, corporations colluding with government officials in order to stamp out competition, marrying AI waifus, the radicalization of citizens, and most importantly, Wincest. Yes, Dusk Beyond the End of the World is finally here, PA Works' new original title. I've watched the first episode of the show, and I am already on board. I was pretty much already sold on it based on the PV and the synopsis, but here it is, and this first episode is a pretty awesome setup so far. It's got great world building, it's got some really solid characters, although there's sort of a reset at the very end of the episode that we have to talk about later on. But so far, I'm on board. Although I do have to say, based on what happens in this first episode, it feels like a little bit too, raw for what's happened recently in the world itself. And again, this whole radicalization kind of thing. But this is my thoughts on this first episode, so let's just jump right into it. Dusk Beyond the End of the World opens up with a boy named Akira. And when Akira was very young, he unfortunately lost both of his parents. Well, thankfully, a friend of his father's ends up pretty much adopting him into his family. So at that point, he pretty much lives with him and his daughter, Towa. Well, cut forward 10 years, Towa herself is pretty much a genius. She graduated early, she's gotten multiple patents at the age of 18. At 19, she's pretty much built an android corporation where they're developing AI androids and all this stuff. Well, over here, Akira is kind of feeling like he's getting left behind. He kind of wants to prove himself to be, a good man because, yes, over time, he's grown a little older and he's grown feelings for Towa. It does seem like that's the case on the opposite end. Towa does seem to have feelings for Akira. He's gotten older, he's looking more manly, she's starting to have those doki doki feelings for him. It even implies at some point she even has to relieve herself at some point because of it. Doki Doki feelings are really developing between the two of them. But on Akira's side, he doesn't feel like he's worthy of her. Because this is a girl that's a genius. She's a mega corporation owner. She's great. And he's just seen as the little brother, the one that she has to help out and take care of. And while things are going great for them, Towa's technology is doing great. She's getting a lot of attention by the public. The world knows her. That's how great she is. They have to kind of step up their security and everything, but everything seems to be going great. Well, unfortunately, out of nowhere, a lot of controversy starts to hit the news. It seems like a lot of world leaders are taking note of what Towa's doing, and now groups like religious groups are starting to question AI technology and the ethics of it, ultimately building to the idea that her company is going to get shut down. Her study into AI technology is going to get shut down. Well, as they kind of look into it a little bit, they end up finding out that yes, her rival companies are colluding with government officials and religious leaders in order to essentially stamp her out. Well, in the midst of all this, Akira is trying to figure out ways that he can support her. It seems like her father's pretty much knowing the fact that Akira likes her. So he's trying to give Akira a little bit of a bump like, hey, you know what you can do? You can, support her emotionally. Give her somebody to lean on. Which Akira does. Ends up taking her on a date, which completely flusters her, completely catches her off guard. She's thinking, wait, I don't know about these feelings yet. I don't know if I can confront this yet. The two of them go on a little date to the zoo, and they have a lot of fun together until ultimately, Akira gives her a gift and says, hey, I don't want to be your little brother anymore. I want to be more than just that. To which she glosses over it and changes the subject. Until ultimately, she kind of says the same thing to him. You know what you said earlier, I completely agree with it. I see you more than a brother too. You're a lot more manlier these days, and I have feelings for you. So, yes, he splurts out that he wants to marry her, which she says, it's a little bit too fast. Well, following this, Towa is talking to her AI assistant that she has, and realizes that the AI assistant more kind of replicates personality rather than artificial intelligence. And it kind of leads her to this new idea for where she can progress her company going forward, since all these regulations are coming down on AI itself. And this new plan that she has, she ends up bringing to a shareholder meeting, revealing it as the Life Companion Project, the ability to implant an AI chip into your body and allowing that to be sort of your personal assistant, something that monitors you on a 24-hour basis and helps you out based on the data they have from the servers. Well, while she's doing this talk, out of nowhere, a man jumps onto the stage, claims that she is basically defiling human beings and that she's blasphemous, and in order to prevent humanity from being doomed, he has to stop her. And he opens fire on her. Well, Akira runs up there, ends up taking most of the bullets before passing out, thinking that he's dead. Before he wakes up from what it seems like a cryogenic sleep, and the entire city is in ruins. So my thoughts on Dusk Beyond the End of the World. So far, I really like this show. Although it's kind of unsettling how relevant it is to today, and I don't think that was intentional for the writer. I almost feel like they're probably going, crap, this is not good. I mean, this whole aspect of radicalization and political puppeteering that's happening against these individuals and how that directly affects people. But that aside, I do think that the writer is obviously giving some sort of relevancy to AI technology and the advancement of it, the fears of it, the political manipulation that's happening by corporations in order to stifle out other competition. All that stuff is very relevant around Towa's character and her story. What she's trying to do with AI technology, what she views as a entrepreneur, something that's not part of a big corporation, what she views in developing AI technology and androids is something because she loves it. She likes robots. She likes the potential in a robot and helping develop that technology in order to assist people. She wants to create something that people will enjoy and find use in. That's what she wants. And I do think that a lot of people that develop technologies like that are looking for that. I mean, one of the main key points of AI technologies is curing diseases and doing operations, stuff like that. Things that are very, very crucial to mankind and will help us in the future. But then you have that idea that, yes, because she's gotten too much attention, because she's developing this so much, the big corporations that want to use it for their own benefit and their own gain, and potentially probably malicious use, as we're probably going to see with the further episodes, those individuals want to stop her. They don't like that she's advancing further than they are, and they want to stop her. And so what they do, they utilize governments, they utilize religious groups in order to stamp her out so that they can get a leg up. And they even bring up the idea that a lot of these companies and financial groups are now contacting her and asking her if they want to partner with them, implying that these are the rival groups. They're now wanting to essentially buy her out. They want to get in buddy-buddy with her so that then we'll go forward. If you just kind of group with us, maybe then we'll go forward. That whole thing there. It's doing really well to kind of develop what again, like I said earlier, seems like a very relevant story. And that's sort of what comes with a lot of the PA Works titles is their desire is to allow writers to come forward with their ideas and tell the stories they want to tell. And I'm assuming that this writer came to them and said, hey, I have this thing that I think is really relevant right now. It's very interesting. And he's doing an excellent job so far of breathing that to life. What I was kind of telling some people while I was watching this is I feel like this is a really well portrayed story that feels grounded. It feels like this makes sense. It feels like this is something that can actually happen. And again, like I said earlier, it's something that actually is happening. And it happens all the time, unfortunately. And yes, like the whole thing later on, which I don't think, again, it was intended, but it is sort of relevant to today's standards, is the idea of radicalization of people, the idea of political groups trying to rile up the people in order to push against an opposing group, a rival in the business realm. And that realization of this setting and what's going on is only enhanced by the fact that, yes, PA Works is just really a top-notch studio. Visually, I absolutely loved it. The way they kind of brought this new technology visually was really fantastic. I loved each of the shots in the room. I'm just kind of looking at the stuff on the walls, the technology they're using, how they, interface with the technology they have. Again, it all feels like it's not too over the top. It's not too futuristic that you're like, yeah, I don't really see technology working that way. It's like you're going a little bit too stretched there. Again, it's very grounded technology. And yes, the visuals extend to the character designs themselves. I really do like Towa's design. I thought she was super cute. There's almost a side that makes me think that she might still be alive, but I'm more kind of leaning towards the idea that I think what's going to kind of be continued on is probably her AI. I'm assuming that this girl that Akira is going to run into that we see in the PVs and the cover arts and everything, she's probably the AI that Towa was talking to, the Ichikishima. I'm thinking that AI is probably going to be this other girl. Because at some point she says, I'm jealous or I'm envious of you in your relationship with Akira. It does feel like the AI probably fell in love with Akira, and that's what we're going to see in the future. But I love the design so far, and I do like the characters. I think Akira's a really solid character. It's the idea this guy's been through a lot of crap, and now he's got this family that's taking care of him. He really does owe these two a lot in the fact that they basically saved his life. They didn't adopt him, but they did bring him in and take care of him because his whole family was estranged, and thus nobody would take him in. But thankfully, this guy was there to bring him in. And he does want to support Towa even on to the future. This is somebody that he cherishes a lot, and he does want to support her any way that he can. And that kind of leads him to trying to push himself and seeing how he kind of basically just dove into everything that Towa has studied, basically master her AI art and try to figure it out so that he can essentially support her through her company as well, was really fantastic. He seems like a cool dude. Towa herself, I loved. And it kind of sucks the fact that, again, they're implying that she's probably dead at this point, you know, jumping so far in the future. I hope, again, that she comes back in some way. Maybe she's just going to be an AI, or possibly have her just be cryogenically sleep somewhere else. I do believe that she did cryogenically sleep him. It does imply at some point that she was studying cryogenic sleep. My assumptions for the story going forward is the fact that whoever was the rival companies to Towa, following Akira losing consciousness, probably stamped her out completely, probably wrecked her quite a bit having this whole thing happen, and that allowed them to kind of step up. We're probably going to get into them developing an alternative AI android system, and that's probably going to cause the ruin of the world. It's going to be one of those elements where Towa herself was developing an AI android system that would have been good, but they used it for their own gain and their own purposes, and yes, possibly weaponizing it. And yeah, the world itself went to ruin. And again, the AI that she was developing, this Ichishima, is probably going to end up being this one girl that badly wants to marry him in the PVs. She's going to find Akira and probably want to marry him and be with him. And I'm hoping that she will eventually say, oh yeah, by the way, Towa is frozen somewhere else. We got to go get her, but we'll see. Though I do have to admit, I kind of respect the writer to at least have the main girl have desires. I mean, we actually have a show where they're willing to show that the female character, yes, got a little heated in her bed. It's like, okay, wow, we're actually showing that. Mad respect for the writers. Mad respect for the writers. Overall, like I said, it's got a good setup. It looks really good. The characters are really solid. Again, a little bit too much of a gut punch of how like relevant it is today. Completely unintentional, but also intentional. But my only kind of reservation is kind of wondering where the story will go from here with this whole time jump. With what we've seen in the PVs, it really does look like there's quite a stark difference as to what we've seen in episode 0, which is more grounded. It's to what the current political climate is. Whereas the PV, which is probably episode 1 onward, looks more like it's going to go into, you know, AI waifu battler, you know, protecting Akira as he doki dokis and flustered wah-wah-wahs at her coming after him all the time. But I still do appreciate what episode 0 will do anyways, because it does give a lot of context as to why Akira is going to be so against the idea of possibly this AI waifu. He's still very fresh off of seeing the one that he loves be shot on a stage, and he's trying to protect her. And now suddenly he's in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, that is all said. I'm looking forward to more. Really do love this show. I don't know if I'll cover on a weekly basis. That always kind of depends on if, you know, the following episode, there's a lot to kind of discuss and really dig into. I'm hoping there will be, but we'll have to wait and see. PA Works for me has always been kind of hit and miss. Sometimes the shows really, really work for me. Sometimes they work for me for a while and they, you know, drop off. It's always a mixed bag for me, and I really do hope that he, you know, pulls something through with this show, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content and want to support the channel more, become a member of the channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing first impressions of all the shows of the season. Until next time, y'all take care.